All right. Shalom, Israel, with the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Commanding General YAHANNA. Tonight is the closing of the Purim. This is a time, this is a memorial that we celebrate, and we were told to celebrate and to remember the times of old. Right. You understand? This is a very important story to show how important brotherhood and sisterhood is together, working together as brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, think that the UPK is just all about the brotherhood. Well, we're about the sisterhood here too. Yeah, and the sisterhood is what Esther is going to show you in this scripture. The role of a woman. Right. Hey kids, y'all be quiet. So the brotherhood and the sisterhood is the thing that's very important that stand for us to understand in these times. We're gonna backtrack a little bit in the story for those that were not here yesterday, just so that you can get an understanding to know what we're talking about. So let's go back to Esther 6. We're gonna start at Esther 6. We're gonna start at verse 1. Who got the mic?
The book of Esther, chapter 6, verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles. Okay, so we catching back up. I'm finna get that ring out of there. So this is what it is. Esther, see, what you say, where you at the point again? On that night, the king, what? On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles.
Okay, so the king was sitting up in his room, and he couldn't sleep that night. He couldn't get no rest. Previously, what happened before this was Mordecai had there were some guards at the king's gate, and Mordecai told on these guards because they were conspiring against the king. So now we're getting to the point to where the king is thinking it's something that's happened that I haven't done. So now he's finna read the books of the Chronicles of the Kings, right? Read what you got.
And they were read before the king. Verse 2. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bedigahem and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ashur.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. And the king said, to honor and dignity had been done to Mordecai for this.
He said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this great act that he has done? That's what he's saying. He's saying, what honor, what payment did we give this man for saving my life? Keep reading.
Verse 3. Oh, somebody. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him.
That was what?
Nothing done for him.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 4. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was coming to the outward court of the king's house.
Now we know that Haman was this Edomite that was conspiring to kill all of the Jews because of what Mordecai was doing. Right. So at this time, this is what's happening. Mordecai is a Jew that worked at the gate for the king, but he was not a coon. Right. You understand? He did not bow down to this white man. And this white man hated him so much for not bowing down to him, he planned to kill him. So he set up some gallows in his yard. He set up, we figured it out last night. How many stories was it? 7?
So like I said, it was 75 feet.
75 feet.
Like if I may, it was 75 feet, and that's equivalent to a little over 7 stories.
Right. So he made a 7-story gallows in his yard to hang Mordecai because he wouldn't bow down to him. All right. Now we on the same page. Let's go. Keep reading.
To speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
Mm-hmm. So, as the king is remembering, I need to reward Mordecai, Haman is coming to tell the king, I want to kill Mordecai. You understand? As his enemy is trying to get him killed, the Most High is trying to get him blessed. And that is something that black people are living right now. While the white man is conspiring against you to destroy you, the Lord is trying to increase you and destroy them.
Right.
Keep reading.
Khan, verse 5.
Give me verse 6.
Khan, verse 6. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor?
Mm-hmm.
Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself?
Now Haman is thinking that the king is asking him, what reward should I give you? So now his response is going to be exactly what he wants to happen to himself. Go ahead and read.
Khan.
Verse 7.
Khan. And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, mm-hmm. and the horse that the king rideth upon, mm-hmm. and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
He's like, look, if you want to honor a man, let me tell you how to really honor him. You give him your horse, you give him some of your clothes, and you let him wear your crown. That's how you honor a man, king. Now, why is he saying this? If you're paying attention, why is Haman saying this? Sister? Because he thinks he's the one that's going to get this reward. Go ahead.
Come on, sir. Come, sir. Verse 9. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array man withal whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, mm-hmm. and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor.
This is what he's saying. This is how you reward him, king. Give him your horse, your crown, your clothes. This is how you should reward him. Now, read the next verse.
Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse as thou hast said.
Stop. He said to make what?
Make haste.
He said, hurry up. He said, get a horse and the clothes just like you said. And do what?
And do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
He was.
Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city.
Now just imagine that. Last night, you was at with your wife talking about how you gonna kill him. Y'all up all night building a 75-foot gallows to hang him. You go into work the next day, and now he is being glorified over you.
Right.
The very man that you was coming in to work to snitch on is now a supervisor. That's how the Lord did that. Keep reading.
And proclaim before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. Mm-hmm. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate. But Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his head covered.
What was he doing?
He was crying.
Running and crying. He was hurrying up going home with his head covered, crying like a baby. Because that's what the white man do when he don't get his way. Throws temper tantrums. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him.
What will happen?
thou shalt not prevail against him.
Now, guess what? When he went home and talked about Mordecai, he left out one major thing. He didn't tell him that it was a Jew. He was like, oh, this is the Jew you don't like. You gonna fall before him. Why? Why did they know that?
Because the legacy of our ancestors preceded us.
The legacy about what?
That if we keep the law, nothing will come up against us.
Give her a hand. That's exactly what it meant. They knew that if the Lord was on our side, then they was out of there. Keep reading.
Come on, come. If Salakia, but shall surely fall before him.
Mm-hmm.
And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlain, and hasted to bring Haman into the banquet that Esther had prepared.
So now we're going to chapter 7. Chapter 7 is the meeting that Esther set up. Chapter 7 is the meeting that Esther set up with the king and with Haman. Who was Haman?
White man.
The white man. Now we finna find out why she wanted to meet with him. See, now all this is going on at the same time. Mordecai got glorified over him, but he was supposed to have a meeting with Queen Esther. So now his day is ruined with the Mordecai thing. So now let's go to the other side of it to see what's happening with the king and the queen, because at least he could get something good out the day. Go ahead.
Come on, Khan. The book of Esther, chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? Mm-hmm. And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
Go ahead.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. Verse 4, for we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish.
Why did he say we are sold? To be slain and to be perished. Why did she say that?
Would that have something to do with like just oppression?
If you know what happened, if you know the story about what happened last night when we went through this, why does it say that we were sold?
Because they put the bounty on us?
Because they put the money on our head.
Right.
How much money was it? How much money was it? $100 and something million? $186 million to kill us.
Damn.
That's what he said. He said we were sold to do what? Keep reading.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish.
What did she say? Who and her people?
I and my people.
You know what she didn't do? Even though she was sitting in the palace, she didn't separate what's going on in the hood from what's going on with her in the palace.
Right.
Because she recognized that she is the same as those people out there.
Right.
See, our rich, our Oprah Winfrey's, they don't look at themselves as us anymore. Now they white people in their mind. Now they must be somebody else. They're not black anymore. Esther was like, this man is trying to kill me and my people. See, if she just would have said, this man is trying to kill my people, it wouldn't have meant anything to the king, because the king didn't give a damn about them people, but he loved her. So she used her femininity in a way that she was supposed to use. She used it to show that I am still a part of my people, even though I'm in here. So if you love me, you got to love them.
Right.
You understand? And that is very important for our sisters to remember. You have a role to play too. You got a role to play in this hell that we live in too. You can't separate yourself from your people. The same slavery that we went through, you went through too.
Right.
The same ships that we were on, you were on too. You understand? We can't separate. That's what he said in Galatians. Neither Jew nor Greek, bond or free, male or female, we are all one in Christ.
Right.
We done all been through the same things together, so we all got to stand together. We got to fight together. You understand? Don't sweat. Keep reading.
Con. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
The whose damage?
The king's damage.
Now, he let it know if they would have sold us into slavery, it wouldn't have been bad. But King, you signed off on this. And I can't go against what you signed off for. Now what he say? Read.
Con. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so?
He was like, who is this man and where is he at? This one that's trying to get you and your family killed. Now, you know he in love with Esther. You know she was the baddest thing in the lineup of all the women that came before him.
Right.
So now you see every time he talk to her, he like, baby, what you want? I'll give you that. If you want the kingdom, I'll give you half of the kingdom too.
Right.
What he say? Go ahead.
Con. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
You see that?
Damn.
She like, it was him right there.
Right.
He did it. Him right there. He did it. Now it's time for Ahasuerus to go ahead and put on his cape. His da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Now he finna go ahead and show his might in saving his woman.
Right.
Go ahead.
So like I said, if I may, basically she told the king the white man is the devil.
That's exactly what she said. Yeah, this one right here, this devil right here. Go ahead.
Con. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
What did the king do?
He went into the palace garden.
He stormed out of the room, furious. You understand? Keep reading.
Con. Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
Mm-hmm.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Go ahead.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
Stop. Where is the king and where is Haman and where is Esther? Set the picture. Tell me what you see right here when we read. Go ahead.
I mean, you put it in today's term, the king gonna go get the shotgun. You understand? And while he went to go get the shotgun, you know what I'm saying? He begging for his life, pleading to his wife. You understand? Like if you could, you know what I'm saying, about the shot.
He ain't go get the shotgun. He walked out to get some air because he wanted to steal off on him. But he had to gather his thoughts. He didn't want to be emotional. So he walked outside to get some air. He come back in, Haman laying on the bed with his wife, pleading for his life. What did he say? Read.
Con. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
What is the king saying? Go ahead.
So you trying to force my wife to have sex with you?
Now you trying to kill a family. Now you trying to get a box in my house, in my bed. What happened?
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
You know what that is, huh? What they did?
Security.
Nah, they ain't security.
That's that kidnap pillowcase.
They pillowcased him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It got dark, but the sun was still out.
Right.
You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And Harbonah, one of the chamberlains,
Salahi, go ahead.
was on Christ. said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
So now we caught up from yesterday. He dig a pit and he fell in it. That's what he did. He set up and made this station to hang him, and he ended up getting hung at that place. Now we're gonna start from where we was yesterday. Now let's go to chapter 8.
Come on.
Now Haman is dead. The white man is dead. You know, Mordecai he didn't have a parade. He didn't roll through the hood with the king's crown on the king's horse, with the king's garment. Now we're finna move forward. Let's get it.
Come on. The book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews, enemy unto Esther the queen.
What did he do?
Give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen.
Somebody explain that to me. What happened?
Like, if I may, all the wealth and everything of Haman, the Edomite household, went to the Jews.
Went where?
Went to the Jews, our people.
Now make it more succinct. Bring it home.
Went to Esther.
Went to Esther. He said, you know what? I'm gonna put you over there. I'm gonna put you. Look, he was trying to kill you. You rule over them. Guess what? That's going to happen again.
Right.
The very people that tried to kill you and that tried to destroy you and that stole everything from you, they are going to be under you. Right. And you are going to have authority over their lives, the way they tried to have authority over yours. See, when you stay righteous and when you follow rank, order, and structure, and you do things the way that the men above you tell you to do it, everything will work out.
Right.
That's what happened. Esther, the reason she was in the palace is because she was listening to Mordecai. You understand? That's how she got there. And now, Esther and Mordecai about to be the right-hand man to the king. They went from rags to riches together as brothers and sisters, as a family.
Right.
We got the same power to do it today. You just can't be an independent woman.
Right.
You see, you can't be independent and bring us out the slums with you. You're going to have to listen to us. You have to listen to your brother so that we can get the hell out of hell.
Right.
Like Esther did. Esther she wasn't the boss. She was the queen. You see that?
Right.
You got that same strength and that same power. But you're going to have to listen to a man to get that authority that the Lord want to give you. Keep reading.
Come on. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
See that? The changing of the guard right there. He became the king's right hand. And what was that? The hand of the king on the Lord of the Rings? He became the king's hand. Go ahead.
What's crazy is it happens over and over again. It's the same thing that happened with Joseph, sir.
Same thing that happened with Joseph. The Lord is with us, Akim, and I'm walking. All we have to do is follow what we read here. Don't be a coward. How did Mordecai even get to this predicament? What started all of this? Was it trying to join them? Was it trying to love him? Was it trying to please the white man? What started all of this? I'm looking for one word. Yeshaya? La'ah. What started all of this? The reason people think we are not with the Lord is the thing that started this. How about that?
Brotherhood?
La'ah. Ashonapah?
Courage.
That's good. Talk of that. That's a good one too. Malak what? Give him a hand. You know what I'm saying? That's it right there. Rebellion is what started it. You see what I'm saying? Look, let me tell you something. Rebellion is the spirit of Christ.
Right.
Fighting against this system is what Christ did. And he came to show us exactly how to do it the right way.
Right.
He got in this predicament because he was not willing to conform.
Right.
And you know what? He set himself out like a thumb. He separated himself from the world. See what I'm saying? And when he did that, the Lord seen him and was like, I'm going to protect him because he's not like them.
Right.
That's what the Lord does to the men in I.S.U.P.K and the Commander General YAHANNA.
Right.
He protects the brothers and sisters in this school.
Right.
Because we separate ourselves from the world.
Right.
We don't mind looking like a sore thumb. We don't mind standing out. We don't mind rebelling because we know that every time we rebel against this world, we show the Lord that we are on his side. That's how we prove it. It's easy to say I love the Lord in your house. It's easy to say I love the Lord with a Christmas tree in your front room. But it's hard to say I love the Lord when everybody mad at you because you won't do what they are doing.
Right.
Mordecai rebelled against them. He rebelled against the system. And then the Lord said, you know what? I'm going to glorify you. Guess what? We about to be glorified in this earth.
Right.
UPK is about to be glorified because of our rebellion against this system. Everybody's going to see that we are truly the men of the Lord when the Lord, first of all, Commander General YAHANNA stood up for our whole nation when something happened that had nothing to do with us.
Right.
You understand? Some Israelites did some stuff, but because he's the leader of our nation, they came to the leader.
Right.
They came to the man that they know is in charge. They don't want to give him the credit all the time, but they will blame it on you if they think you're wrong.
Right.
End up getting cut. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we're doing right now. We're going to be glorified. We're going to be glorified because of this rebellion. The same way Mordecai was. And that is why these stories are so important. These stories are pivotal to show you that your ancestors were no coward.
Right.
And if you got that same blood in you, why are you a coward?
Right.
Why are you so weak?
Right.
Why are you so afraid to stand up against this system? The blood that's in you is royalty. It's stiff, stern. It's austere.
That's right.
You understand?
Yeah.
But they teach you that you are all about love and you are all about compassion. That ain't what we are. That ain't the only characteristic we got.
Right.
You understand? Just like the Lord ain't all love. The Lord say, I'm a jealous God. He got more than one characteristic. He got more than one emotion, just like you. Now, when you gonna start utilizing other emotions other than love? When you gonna utilize hate? When you gonna utilize rebellion?
Damn.
Well, coming to I.S.U.P.K, we'll teach you how to utilize.
Right.
Keep reading now.
And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3.
Now, Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. The king gave it to Esther. Esther gave it to the man. Why? Why did he give it to the man?
Because the man is in rulership, sir.
Yeah, but bring it home.
If I could, he the one that got Esther, he sent her to even become queen.
Right. So why did she give it to him? Because what could she do? Oh, go ahead. You own it. The reason she gave it to Mordecai is because she couldn't do nothing with him. Every muscle that was going to be moved was going to be through Mordecai.
Right.
So I might as well give it to him so he can go ahead and do what he gonna do, and I ain't gotta have no hand in it. Your job as a woman is to be delicate.
Right.
You're supposed to be soft and delicate and beautiful and all of that. Let us be gruesome. Let us be hard. I seen a video the other day with some sister out there at camp, teaching.
Damn.
She was out there with her husband. And he's standing in the background on Shamar looking weak as hell. And her voice was so masculine that it was scary.
Right.
We out here being oppressed.
Right.
We gotta stand up because the Lord is coming back. Hey, and he hit the camera. That is the spirit that America puts on our women. That's the one. That's the spirit that America puts on our women right there. That manly, aggressive spirit. That's not the spirit that's the head on her. Go ahead.
I was a transgender.
She was a transgender. You understand? That's why it's important, man. Go ahead, keep reading now.
Come on, concert. Verse 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite.
Stop. What she do? She did what?
Fell down at his feet.
Sisters, let me give you some game. Let me give you just a second of game, just one time. You want to get your man to go ahead and do what you want him to do?
Right.
What should you do?
She fell down at his feet.
She's like, baby, my Lord, please, Baba Kushak. Like, damn, girl, what you doing? Why you, girl, get up. No, my Lord, I just want you to know that I love you. Girl, what you want? Yeah, take it. Yeah, you can have it. Go get what you want. You hit a nigga with an outer one of my Lord at his feet. Look here. That's a dead man. Right. Whoever out there on them streets, he getting his ass fell on. He gonna get fell on by the ISUP. Like he calling up the recruits to fall on him with the fall at the feet, my Lord. Right. Go ahead, keep reading.
Good night. And besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman.
She put the butter on top of the butter. She fell at his feet and cried. You gotta go. Haman gotta go. His family gotta go. The dog gotta go. The fish gotta go. Everything that's in Haman's house got to go because of that submissiveness that she had. That right there, and Akim and Akwakim, that is what needs to come back into this earth. You want to get your men in order, Salakia. You want to get your man to move the way you want him to move the way he wants you to move.
Right.
Be submissive. Fall at his feet and cry. Don't say, nigga, you owe me. Nigga, that don't work. But falling at his feet and say, my Lord, if you could, and then let that tear drop, slide down. You know, he gonna say, it's okay, you know what I'm saying? He gonna wipe away your tears from your eyes. You understand? Keep reading that, Slacky.
Hey, come on, concert.
I know I ain't lying. That's why y'all laugh. Y'all niggas get mad. Y'all get mad listening to me. Go ahead.
Come on, concert. To put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Verse 4.
Give me verse 7.
Come on, come. Verse 7. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him have they hanged upon the gallows because he had laid his hand upon the Jews. Verse 8. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name.
Give me verse 11.
Come on, concert. Verse 11. Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life.
To do what?
To stand for their life.
Go ahead.
And Salakia, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them. both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
What does this sound like to you? Knowing the Bible, what does this sound like to you?
Justice?
It's most definitely justice. But what does it sound like? Something that we waiting on. We waiting on what kind of day?
Like it. We waiting on the day to conquer the other nation.
Yeah, also known as Judgment Day. Look, the king, this is a heathen. The king gave him all power and authority to kill, slay, and destroy anybody that got a problem with them. That's what we waiting on right now. We waiting on Christ to come back, our king, and say, it's time to kill, slay, and destroy. Now, he's giving them authority to do this in his prophecies. So everywhere where he rules, this is where this is being passed down to do it. This ain't no all over the world. This is just in the Persian and the Medes, the places where I.S.U.P.K is ruling under. Okay? Get that understood first. All right? Drop down to verse 15.
Khan, the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 15. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with the great crown of gold, and with the garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor.
What does that mean? The Jews had light. What does that mean? The Jews had light. What does that mean? They were happy. It was a good day. They was excited about this. They were not afraid. They were not ashamed. They was like, yes, they had that spark in their eye. Go ahead.
Khan, verse 17. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
What does that mean? Many of the people of the land became Jews. What does that mean? Many people of the land became Jews. Go ahead. One more.
I believe it's saying the Jews of that land came into the truth.
No, man, what it said? It said many people of the land became Jews. Go ahead.
They started following the laws that we put out.
They started following our God. The heathens, they was like, look, I don't want no problem with these niggas. They like, what y'all say is right. What y'all say is wrong. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. They started to follow our ways. And that's why we are put on this earth. We are put here to put it in order. And when we start moving, guess who gonna follow? Everybody gonna follow. That's why the scriptures say that the hand of man is betwixt. You understand? It's betwixt Esau and Jacob. You understand? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is one of those scriptures that the white man will say they became spiritual Jews.
Right, I know. That's exactly why I asked this question. Because it has nothing to do with spirituality.
Right.
Okay, give me chapter 9. We're gonna start at verse 2.
Khan, the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 2. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt. And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people.
The fear fell upon what?
The fear of them fell upon all people.
Now you understand the quantum one? It's because they was afraid of us. The fear fell upon them, and they was like, whatever y'all say, that's what I'm doing. Keep reading.
Khan, verse 3. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers of the king helped the Jews.
What they do?
Help the Jews.
Because
the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
You see that? Mordecai got stronger and stronger through the Spirit of the Lord because of him standing up firm for the Most High. Because he stood so stiffly for the Lord. And the more we stand stiffly with the Lord and for the Lord, the stronger we're going to get as a nation. That's why it's so important for us to do what we're supposed to do in this truth. You understand? Drop down to verse 5.
Come on, verse 5. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword.
With the prayers?
With the stroke of a sword.
With love?
With the stroke of the sword. And slaughter and destruction. And did what they would unto those that hated them. And
that's what salvation is.
Right.
Salvation is to be saved from your enemies.
Right.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be saved from our enemies through war. Because the Lord is going to destroy them. Go ahead.
Come on, verse 6. Verse 6. And in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men.
Drop down to 10.
Come on. The 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil laid they not their hand.
Let me tell you something. Why does it keep saying the adversary of the Jews, the enemies of the Jews? Why does it keep saying that?
Because all the other nations is our enemies.
Give her a hand. You got to understand that the other nations are your enemies. No matter how much they smile in your face, remember that all the time they want to take your place because they are backstabbers. Backstabbers. You see what I'm saying? You got to remember that. No matter how much they smile and act like they love you, they don't. No matter how many times they invite you over to eat, they don't want you to come over. They just want to say, I got a black friend. I got a Hispanic friend. Yeah, his name is Tyrone. That's it. That's all they want to say. But they don't really love you. Give me verse 13.
Khan, the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted. Salakia. The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
On that day, what was supposed to happen to them? Like what?
On that day, the Jews were supposed to be getting killed.
On that day, the Jews were supposed to die because of what Haman said. Haman said, kill them all. So on that day, they were supposed to die. Well, he said, on this day, let us do unto Haman's son what was supposed to be done to us.
Right.
And let us do it. They weren't talking about no mercy. Let's love them. Let's come together and hold hands. Right. They said they wanted to kill us today. Well, if we could, King, let us kill them today. Let us kill the remaining people of Haman's house.
Right.
Keep reading.
Come. Verse 14. And the king commanded it so to be done.
Right.
And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
Right.
For the Jews.
Let me ask you one question. Why is the king giving all these requests to the Jews?
He told Esther that she could have what she wanted.
He said you can have whatever you like. He doing all of this because of Esther.
Right.
It had nothing to do with Mordecai. It had nothing to do with his love for black people. He did this for a woman. That's the power that you got. If you use it the right way. Esther, what he didn't know is Esther followed orders of Mordecai, not him.
Right.
Whatever Mordecai said, that's what Esther did, not the king. So everything that was happening was set up from the jump for Mordecai. Go ahead,
So like if I may, sir. So should we say that sisters that are in the truth, right, that their boxes are out of this world, sir? Like your Muhammad?
That box is fourth dimensional. Out of this world. Life changing and life saving. Sci-fi. Go ahead.
It's like on Harlem Nights. Right.
Sunshine. No sweat. Keep reading.
Come on, verse 15. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day, also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hand. But the other
18.
Verse 18. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof. And on the 15th day of the same day, on the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting.
Give me verse 20.
Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces.
All the prophecies of what?
Of the king Ahasuerus.
Of the king Ahasuerus. And this is the decree that went over all the planet Earth. Is this someone that went over everywhere in the world? This is just the place that the king ruled over. When people read stuff like that, they be like, everybody knew about this. Everybody did not know about this.
Right.
So that's why this is not a holy feast day. This is a memorial. This is remembering this. The same way they have the memorial for the soldiers. They have the memorial for the 4th of July. They got the memorial for presidents. It's just a remembering of something. That's all it is. That's what this is. We are remembering when we destroyed our enemies that tried to destroy us. Keep reading.
Come, verse 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month, Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
Give me verse 25. And that's what we're doing right now. Go ahead.
Verse 25. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
27.
Wherefore they called these days Purim.
They call it what?
Purim, after the name of Pur.
Keep reading.
Therefore all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. Verse 27.
Salakia, look up the word, look up Pur. I don't want to say no, but I think Pur was a feast day that they had in Persia and in the Medes. So they named it Purim for their feast, for their remembrance of it. I'm not sure, but we're gonna look it up and find out. You got the definition? Okay, yeah, look that up. All right, read what verse you at? Read 27.
Come. The Jew of the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 27. The Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year.
Go ahead.
And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Why is this so important? Why is this so important to remember?
So like, oh. No, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Abba.
To remember the death of our enemies, sir.
Yes. These people wanted to kill how many of us? All of us. And the fact that they didn't get the opportunity to kill all of us, this is a day to remember.
Right.
This is why we remember this time. We remember this time because if it wasn't for the Lord, none of us would be here right now.
Right.
We would all have died and been killed by some white man that was mad at one of our brothers for not getting on his knee and bowing down before him.
Right.
But the Lord said something else. He had something else in mind. Go ahead, what you got?
I got the definition of pur from the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary.
Go ahead.
Pur, a Jewish festival celebrated on the 14th and 15th of the month, Adar, commemorating the deliverance of the Hebrews from the plots of the wicked Haman in the post-exilic period. And it references Esther 3:7 and 9 and 26.
That's it right there. This is where it comes from. So if you want to know why we celebrate this, why we remember this, we remember this like the white man remembers the Alamo.
Right.
We remember this like the white man remembers 9/11.
Right.
Like he remembers Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Like he remembers all of the times he killed his enemies. We remember us killing ours.
Right.
You understand? What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Right.
And that's why we eat this delicious food. Get a sister's hand. You know what I'm saying? We remembering the destruction of our enemy.
Right.
Where we at right now?
Verse 29, sir.
See? Take 29, read 30.
Come, the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 30. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Assyrius with words.
Go ahead.
With words of peace and truth.
Go ahead.
Verse 31. To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed, the matters of the fastings of their cry.
Go ahead.
And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it is written in the book.
Give me the editions of Esther. Get your apocrypha. Give me the editions of Esther. Go to chapter 10. We're gonna start at verse 4. What am I getting? 10 and 4.
The book of Esther, chapter 10, verse 4. Therefore had he made two lots, one for the people of God and another for all the Gentiles.
Zalakia, that's not 10 and 4. He said, then Mordecai said, that's what we at.
This is the book of additions to Esther, chapter 10, verse 4. Then Mordecai said, the power had done these things. Verse 5. For I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof hath failed.
You see this? This is why he knew this was going to happen from the jump. Because he knew what the Lord had put in his vision to do for his nation. While Esther thought she was just following orders, she was doing what the Lord had said to be done. She didn't even know why she was going into this house to be with this heathen. She didn't know why, but because she followed orders, she saved the entire nation's life.
Right.
All of our lives. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her following her orders, because they would have killed all of us. But that's why the Bible says, but for the elect's sake, as I made the time short. Because the Lord is trying to get us out of here. And he makes stuff like this happen so that you can see it and say, I'm finna change my life so that I won't die the way they want me to die. They would, if it was up to the white man, he would have been killed you.
Right.
He'll have a big old, I'll be looking at stuff like the Henny Fest. I'll be like, boy, they trying to get all of us in one spot.
You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna drop a nuke on us and kill all of us. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what their plot is. Keep reading.
Come. Verse 6. A little fountain became a river, and there was light, and the sun, and much water. This river is Esther, whom the king married and made queen.
You see that? This is his dream. He's telling you the interpretation to his dream. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the two dragons are I and Ammon.
I and Haman. These are the two ones that's been a fight against each other. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews.
And the nations were those who was trying to come up against us. That's what they always try to do. Come up against us and destroy us. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And my nation is this Israel, which cried to the power and were saved.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord hath saved his people. And the Lord hath delivered us from all those evils. And the power hath wrought signs and great wonders, which have not been done among the Gentiles.
He did something that nobody, that the heathens hadn't seen before. It has not been done amongst them. So what was he doing? He was making them see that the Lord was still with us, even in captivity. Guess what? The Lord is doing that to you right now.
Right.
He's showing you amongst the Gentiles that he's still with you right now with the coronavirus. Amongst the Gentiles, he's showing you that he still loves you. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Therefore hath he made two lots, one for the people of the power and the other for all the Gentiles.
What is a lot? Go ahead.
A plot of land.
He made two. Now, if the Lord wanted us to all come together, why did he make two lots? The Lord separated us. Go ahead. Read.
Verse 11. And these two lots came at the hour and time and the day of judgment before the power among all nations. Verse 12. So the power remembered his people and justified his inheritance. Verse 13.
The power remember who?
Remembered his people.
The power remembered his people. He didn't remember all people. Even though he was in captivity, he said, "You not finna kill him.
Right.
If anybody gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him, but you not."
Right.
Just because you mad at him, that don't mean a damn thing to me. You not finna touch mine.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Verse 13. Therefore, those days shall be unto them in the month of Adar, the 14th and 15th day of the same month, with an assembly and joy, and with gladness before the power, according to the generations, forever among his people.
Let me tell you something. The white man wants you to forget everything that has ever happened to you.
Right.
But the Lord is going to remember everything that has happened to you. And this story is to remind you that God, the Most High, never forgets what they have done to us.
Right.
And he ain't gonna let them step on us too much longer. What he is going to do is free us from our enemies like he did in the time of Esther.
Right.
With that, go ahead.
Salakia, you know, being that this is something we keep all the time, you know what I'm saying? It's not a new feast day. Like every year, the story hits me harder and harder.
Right.
And like listening to it and thinking about it now, two things come to mind. One, it shows how
how ignorant Christianity is, because they're taught to wait on Jesus.
Right.
They're taught to wait on God. When in this case, Mordecai didn't wait on God.
Right.
It's something that he did to get this ball rolling. And another thing, we're dealing with fake Israelites. This plan that Mordecai put in place, it wasn't 4 or 5 niggas that knew this.
Right.
It was one man.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't tell somebody else to plan. It was one man who the Lord chose, and that man got the ball rolling, and that woman followed the man, and they liberated their whole people. You know what I'm saying? And the nerve of these fake Israelites to try to say, well, we all got the truth, or we not supposed to follow man. Commanding General YAHANNA is our Mordecai today.
That's right. Give that man a hand. And with that, we're going to pass the class over to priest and officer, YAHANNA. Give him a hand.
Good. Now, is Mordecai.
We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West and 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandments, number 18 and 21, Malachi 3 through 8 through 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'asher, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations is the Passover. It's going to be April the 9th, 2020, and you can find it. It's the 14th day of the month. It's going to be April 9th, 2020. You can find it in Exodus chapter 12, 1 through 51, Leviticus chapter 23, 4 and 5, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7 and 8, and 2 Chronicles chapter 30 and 17. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And that concludes the security announcements.
With that, Amajim, ready to stand. Saul, turn to face the east. Say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew and the English. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kudash, Hayah, Shukah, Yahweh, Alakukah, Saba'ah, Ratazakah, Hayah, Asha, Baratazah, Hawa, Hayah, Tashamaya, Watananawa, Wakam, Kal, Wayam, Wasalatnawa, Wawatnawa, Wawasalakat. Kasalatnawa, Kabawakinawa, Wala'ah, Tabaya'ayanawa, Bonasai 1, Abal, Ashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kayah, Lakah, Hamalakwa, Waha'Allah, Wahatapara, La'awalamyam, in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. And Saul, turn, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and the sisters. Men of Israel, Mayim Shabbat, Majim, Rock, Yazamata, Saul, courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Mayim Shabbat, Majim, Rock, Yazamata, dismissed.
I